As Uganda works towards Vision 2040, UBC Radio is dedicated to the development of Uganda. Join us every day for transformative programs in English, Swahili, and Luo. This is UBC Radio.
Good afternoon, dear listener. Thank you for tuning to 98.0, 99.4, 97.4 UBC Radio. Welcome to Youth on Point. I'm second Uncle Philip, aka Uncle Philip, host for the show. Now, welcome yet again to the show. And today we are looking at how youths are being affected by domestic violence. Now, to take a little quick background. Okay, no. Before I take the background of domestic violence, now I have a special guest with me. She's a counselor, and please introduce yourself.
Hi, Philip.
Hi, how are you?
I'm alright, thank you. Happy to be here again.
Happy to have you in the same space.
Sharifa Namsisi is my name. I'm the founder of Let's Fix It Individual and Couples Counseling.
Okay. Yes. Now, you've heard from her. Now, Sharifa.
Yes.
Now, today we are looking at how the youths are being affected by domestic violence.
Yes.
And quick recap. Now, according to the Police Annual Criminal Report of 2020, a total of 17,664 cases of domestic violence were registered compared to 12,541 cases reported in 2019. Now, of the 17,664 cases reported in 2020, 348 victims were male adults, while 13,145 were female. Now, we are females. Now, we are female adults, and 2,000 were children, and 1,186 were girls. Now, what is domestic violence in your opinion as a counselor?
Well, in my opinion, domestic violence is defined as a pattern of behavior in any relationship that is used to gain or maintain power and control over the other person. And when you say domestic violence, people always assume it's only physical.
Yes.
Like, I've slapped you. Oh my God, that's domestic violence.
Yes.
No. Domestic violence can be physical, it can be sexual, it can be emotional, it can be psychological actions or threats of actions that influence another person. And now these behaviors obviously frighten, intimidate, terrorize, hurt, humiliate, blame, injure, and wound the other person. That is domestic violence.
Well, thank you so much for that enlightenment. Now, just a little brief on, because when you talk about domestic violence, sometimes we think someone can just do it and get away with it. Now, yes. According to Section 6 of Domestic Violence Act provides that a person who fails to comply with the terms and conditions of protection order commits an offense and eligible of conviction to a fine not exceeding 48 cents points, all imprisonment not exceeding 2 years or both. Now, you as a counselor, what do you think are the causes of domestic violence in the day-to-day era?
Domestic violence.
Yes.
I will have to go back to how we were all raised.
Yes.
Many of us, there is something they call attachment theory. Yes. I don't want to get into it so much, but children who have experienced abuse have a higher chance of becoming abusers or getting into abusive relationships. Yes?
Yes.
So many of us, if you ask me the causes of violence, some of us have learned this behavior, and some of it has been because of the effects that came from the domestic violence we witnessed either growing up or anywhere else.
Okay.
Yes.
And now, according to what you've just said, that some of us experience these things when you're growing up, what would you think would be the effects of domestic violence to a youth? You as a person growing up, seeing your mom beating your father, your mom beating your father, or your father beating your mama, because it is two-way traffic.
Yes.
Despite the fact that most cases, when a woman beats a man, they say a woman was protecting herself. But when a man beats a woman, now that is domestic violence. So what are the effects of domestic violence to a child who witnesses, such acts?
Okay, I mentioned something about the attachment theory when I was starting, and what I forgot to mention was that there are 4 types, and one of those types is called the disorganized attachment. We need to understand sometimes where it comes from before you know what it does to a person. So with the disorganized attachment style, this is when a parent or caregiver is abusive to the child, right? So as a caregiver, you are the source of safety to the child. But when the child experiences physical and emotional cruelty or frightening behavior from you, it is like life-threatening to them. So this child is like caught in a terrible dilemma. They are not supposed to trust you, yet you are their source of comfort and trust. So usually what some of these people do after they've experienced this, they themselves cannot be safe with anyone. Because they've learnt it, they are going to do it. They are likely to do it. And because it has seemed normal while growing up, they will also tolerate it. While in relationships. So that is one of the effects of domestic violence. We have normalized it because the children have seen it. So the youth are going to do it. And not only the youth, even the children who are not youth are going to do it, because if I saw mommy beat daddy, then it means, well, okay. I mean, we are supposed to learn from our parents. So it means that you have taught these children that violence is okay. And some of the effects, you're going to realize that some of the youth are going to do drugs, because sometimes that is how they're going to cope. It's one of the ways that it's unhealthy. It's an unhealthy coping mechanism, but some kids don't have anyone to talk to. So they will start abusing drugs. Some kids are going to go into depression. And I always tell this to parents that, children are depressed and they're like, oh, please. Depression is for us adults.
And actually, they always say it's for white people.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm actually writing to different schools that I want to actually go and talk to children. Because I've got some in my practice who will tell you, I'm really, really depressed because mommy is always fighting with daddy and daddy won't leave. Mommy won't leave. I don't know what I'm going to do. And it's also the other way around. I've had kids who go like, my mom is so terrible to my dad. And it's killing me. Yes. Sometimes I wish my dad could just leave and we go. But these kids cannot perform well in school. They cannot do well in any areas of life because there is a lot going on that they also need to sort through, because they are human beings at the end of the day. The same way adults go through depression and anxiety and stress is the same way children go through it. Unfortunately for them, just because they're not paying tuition or rent, they're not supposed to even talk about it, right? So that's one of the effects. The children are going to normalize this behavior. They are going to go into depression. Many of them are going to have PTSD. I have a parent who told me that when she was growing up, she would witness the dad beating the mom so much that she would pee on herself. To this date, she's still traumatized. She is traumatized that she can't even stand someone raising their voices at them. So the effects are so many. That is why it's very important that we're talking about it.
And you talked about children experiencing this.
Yes.
And in our society, actually, boys are raised to be strong. You're not supposed to cry in public. You're supposed to be the protector. You're supposed to be the protector. There's so many things that are expected of the boy child. To one extent that you're not supposed to let out your emotions. You find a boy crying, you'll be like, what? You find a man crying, you'll be like, what? To one extent, I'll give you a very good example. There is a recent couple that separated. That is Joe Steady and Prim. And it was alleged that Joe Steady was being beaten by the ex-girlfriend. And he did not open about it. He kept quiet because he never wanted the society to judge him. What would you tell someone in that position?
Well, I would like to first of all note that abuse among boys is largely unknown and unacknowledged. And I think there's a counselor I met yesterday, Mr. Moses Fanga. He would be happy to hear you say that, because he keeps telling me, Sharifa, let's talk about toxic masculinity. We are not talking about this enough, because parents are out there telling children, boys don't cry.
Yes.
Man up.
Yes.
What you're teaching this boy to do is suppress his emotions. What you're telling him to do is, no, you're not allowed to be human because you're a boy. But you see, that is very wrong. You cannot raise a child like that. You're raising emotionless husbands. We are struggling. the ones who are getting married to them, we are the ones suffering because these men cannot even be vulnerable with us, yet, part of what makes a relationship work is if we can both be vulnerable with each other. But you cannot be vulnerable, Philip, because you're a man. You're not supposed to have feelings, emotions.
May I
or you're
cry?
not supposed to
May I cry? Just things of emotions. May I cry?
Man.
I'm a human being.
Yes.
You break my heart, I'm just gonna cry. And it is okay.
It is okay. That is what we need to be preaching. We don't need to be telling people out there that, no, you're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to feel. Why?
Yeah.
I'm a human being.
Yeah.
So I think it is true. There are women out there who are abusive to their partners, but we don't talk about that a lot. We really don't.
And actually, even when you go to the police, it's really hard for a man to go to the police and say, my woman has beaten me. That is why I told my friends, if me and my girlfriend ever have a disagreement or an argument, and she gets maybe a saucepan or a shoe and she beats me, I'm not gonna beat her back. But if she flexes, she does punches or kicks me, I'm fighting with a brother. You get? Because the certain things that I don't, you see, a woman to punch you, it is really hard.
Yes.
And how they do their punches, it is different from men.
Yes.
But when she does those punches as a man,
yes,
then we have to flex.
I know.
Yeah, we have to flex. Now, Sharifa,
yes.
Speaking about the boys and who do you think are the victims of domestic violence? Because we are looking at children, the boys weren't inclusive in this, but who do you think, what gender and what age and what race?
Well, abuse knows no gender.
Okay.
Abuse knows no age.
Okay.
It doesn't know race. Everyone can be a victim.
Yeah.
We've seen that children are affected. I'm sure you've seen teenagers engaging in aggressive behavior.
Yeah.
Children engaging in aggressive behavior.
Yeah.
They are affected.
Yeah.
Like I said, abuse is not only physical.
Yes.
It can be verbal.
Yes.
You will see a 5-year-old saying words that you would never expect them to say, but where do you think they're getting them from? Because they see mommy and daddy doing it.
Yes.
It has been normalized in the house, so they are doing it. You will see an angry child and you don't understand where is it coming from. So everyone is a victim. Men are victims.
Yeah.
They are, you see, women, many of us might not be physically abusive, but we are
the
verbally and emotionally abusive.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and you see that pain that you cannot really put a pin on?
Yes.
It's painful.
To an extent, you would say that someone would rather beat me than abusing me.
Right?
Yeah.
So many people prefer that.
Yeah.
But you can see that even men are at the end of it. Women too are at the end of it. Boys, girls, everyone can actually be a victim of abuse.
Okay.
Yes.
And due to the fact that everyone is a victim of this.
Yes.
Now we are at the point where we have jealous men.
Mm-hmm.
And being jealous has led to so many things. There is that good jealous, because when I was talking to a friend of mine, and she said, if you love someone, you be jealous.
Right.
Like, you be jealous.
Right.
But some men have reached to a certain point of having CCTV cameras at home. They check their women's phones.
Right.
Who are you talking to?
Right.
And before you know it, they're in a fight.
Right.
Do you think it is okay for a man to supervise the person they love?
Why are you calling it supervision? That is control.
It is control.
Yeah, that is control. And I keep telling couples who come into my practice that love is free. Love doesn't bind. Like every time you want to control another human being, then that's it. That's the end of the relationship. Well, some get away with it, but at the end of the day, control goes back to abuse. You want to be in charge. You want to be up here and the other person below you. But in relationships, I keep preaching that you and I are teammates. Like, why do you have to control my movements? Who I talk to? I'm not a puppet. I'm not a child. So if you cannot trust me, then don't marry me.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And if you can't be secure in the relationship, then don't marry me.
Okay.
Yeah.
On that point,
Yes.
you talked about controlling and
Yes.
speaking out of experience.
Yes.
When you're dating someone,
Yes.
at some point when, okay, let me say me and you are dating.
Yes.
I know we are not, you're married.
Right.
And,
You have to make that clear.
so this is so this is the thing.
Yes.
I have my girlfriend and
Yes.
she's a party animal. I'm not a party animal.
Right.
And be like, you know what, babe, if you're going out, please let me know, because I might call you in weird hours and I want to talk to you, and you're not picking up. Before I know it, the following day you're telling me, oh, Mia's out. Like, is it okay for someone to keep tabs on the people that they love? Is it okay for someone to communicate? Because when you talk about it, this woman is going to tell you you're controlling.
Okay.
But me, when I'm going out, I tell you. But when you're going out, you don't tell me.
Okay, now let me go back a bit.
Yes.
To everyone who is going to get married anytime soon,
Yeah.
I need you to know that everything you are saying in your partner right now
Yeah.
is exactly what you're going to see in marriage. Or worse. I'm being honest.
Okay.
Whatever you see now,
Okay.
you are going to see it in marriage.
Yes.
So if your husband is a party animal right now,
Yeah.
don't think that marriage is going to change him. Don't think that kids are going to change him. No, they will change when they are ready to change.
Yeah.
So that is where now the problem starts from.
Yeah.
I'm coming to your point. You go like, man, she drinks, mumanyo, anywa boto ya jagala. But you know, Wanazala, she'll change.
Yeah.
Yo, Wanazala agenda kuwela mu postpartum depression. She'll even want to drink more. Right? So now, you will want to start trying to get that person off the behavior you saw them doing while you dated for 6 years. How is that going to happen? So, I will get to your point.
Yes.
You're using, I don't know, you're kind of using polite names to cover up for the big words that we use in therapy. Supervising, that is control. I inform her where I'm going, but first she doesn't inform me where she's going. So you might want to call that accountability. But sometimes it is coming from an insecure place.
Is it bad to be insecure?
Why are you insecure?
Is it bad to be insecure?
Well, it's unhealthy because insecurity in a relationship always does not end well.
Okay.
Right? Because there are people who will tell you, oh no, babe, all you have to do is inform.
Yes.
Do not ask for permission. Do not, tell me from point. No, but there are people, not like you, Philip, I'm starting to sense. You're the people who are like, you have to inform me from point A to point B, okay? I need to know where you are. But even judging from your tone of voice, you are controlling.
And no, to put you right, I believe in communication.
Okay.
And I know if a relationship is going to work,
yes,
you have to establish communication.
Correct.
Right? And communication starts from, let me say, you're going out, we're not staying together.
Right.
And we usually talk at 10 o'clock in the night.
Right.
So this time round, I call you, you're not picking up.
Yes.
I call you at 11, you're not picking up. I call you at midnight, you're not picking up. But
right,
these are the times that we talk. But before I know it, tomorrow in the morning, you're like, Mia's out.
Okay.
What would you have lost if you tell me, babe, I'm going out? So that I don't even waste my time to call. Like, Simu Bobi, I'm just saying.
Oh, you said I don't waste my time to call. It's like Bobi. But look, I am, I'm 100% with you on the communication bit.
Yes.
I'm here giving you a headache about it, but me and my husband have that role. And I think every relationship should have something that works for them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Or you might come to me telling me, I have to communicate, but hey, that doesn't work with me. I'm going to feel like you're policing me around and stuff like that. So you and I would never be on the same page. But every relationship has something that works. Yeah. For us, it's inform. That is it. Don't give me details. I'm here. I have reached at 12:02. I will leave at 3:04.
That's controlling.
All you have to do is inform. And that is a healthy part of a relationship.
Yes.
Yeah, but there are some people who don't like it. Are you really going to tell me that some men out there are comfortable telling their wives, babe, I'm going to the bar. Yeah, I'll be back home at 3 a.m. Now, if he moves from point A to point B, he also calls in and texts, babe, I was at this bar, now I'm going to this bar. Some men find it, like, yo, bro, I'm the man. I don't have to explain myself to you.
It wasn't like that. What I said was...
that's happening.
What I said was this. Because now, the reason why I'm saying that, it has led to a lot of domestic violence. I'm going to come and beat you up. You're going to come back. No, this is the thing.
Okay.
You're going to come back home early in the morning. You knock the door, you expect me to open for you.
Yes.
You did not tell me where you've been.
Right.
And it's not about you telling me, oh, babe, we've gone to this bar. Now we moved to this bar. Like, you know what? Today I'll come back a little bit late. I'm going out with the girls. Okay. Period. So I know where you are. Even if something bad happens, I know where to start from. Okay. Yeah. And when you talk about that with someone that you love, they'll say you're controlling.
Well, I'll have to say it's not controlling if you've both agreed to be accountable to one another.
Yes.
Okay, that's a healthy part of the relationship.
Yeah.
I can also see how there can be a misunderstanding in me coming back home at 3 a.m. When I had to, be back at 11 and I did not communicate.
Yes.
So I think that's the word.
Yes.
Communicate.
Yes.
Not supervision or me, having to, it's just that. Babe, if you think you're going to be late, please let me know so that I can plan on my end.
Yeah.
So that is clear and understandable. But also I'd like to urge every person out there, marry a person who cannot emotionally regulate. Like, just because I'm late, it doesn't call for a beating, Philip.
I'm listening.
So because you mentioned you're coming late and then I'll beat you up.
No, but there's some people who do that.
Yeah, of course. That's why we're talking about this,
yes.
because it is happening.
Yes.
You come back late, you're done, So I'm just trying to tell everyone out there that you need to be with somebody who knows when they're angry enough not to talk or get into a discussion, and they need a timeout to maybe, emotionally calm down and then come back to the table and talk like adults.
Okay. So, what do you make of people? Because when we are talking, you talked about, let me marry this person,
Yes.
and when she gets back, she will change.
Yes.
What do you make of people who want to change people for who they want them to be? Now, if I'm dating you and you dress a certain way, and when I start dating you, then I also want you to start behaving in a certain way, dress a certain way.
Yes.
What do you make of that? People who want to change others to fit in what they really want them to be.
Number one, stop trying.
Okay.
It is never going to happen.
Okay.
And if it ever even tries to happen, this person is going to resent you.
Okay.
Because like I said, if I've dated you for 6 years, 2, 3, 4 years, and I've been going to the bar every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, what makes you think that after I marry you, it's going to change? By the time you marry me and you've noticed me doing all these things, it means you are okay with me doing these things. At least that's the information I will get, right?
Yeah.
Because, why didn't you marry the church girl? Why didn't you marry the Muslim girl who's always in the masjid? But you chose me. So if you try to change me, it is going to be, first of all, I'm going to feel controlled. Right?
Okay.
And I'm not going to like it. It's definitely it's not going to end well.
Yeah.
Number two, you cannot change people. I think every time you remind yourself of that, you will know peace.
Okay.
You will never change a human being. You can inspire, you can guide, you can advise, but you cannot change people. So, omuntu omuwasenga wali. Like, take me as I am right now. Yeah, If you cannot, then find someone who suits your expectations.
Okay.
Yes, as opposed to you getting me the way I am, and then you try to change me.
Okay. Speaking of change, do you think to a certain extent, the boy child is also being sexually abused?
Yes.
How?
Well, if I say how, my clients might think I'm talking about them.
Yeah.
But yes, there are men who are sexually abused in their relationships. Yes.
How?
Can I stop there?
No. Okay. It's okay.
Thank you.
It's okay.
Yes.
Speaking of, the boy child has always been neglected in so many things.
Yes.
Now, would you please enlighten us all, draw a connection between a youth's problem and also domestic violence?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
A youth's problem. Let me say you're unemployed.
Yes.
And then how can you relate that to domestic violence? Because some people, when they do certain things, they start saying, it's because of this, it's because I raised like this, it's because I grew up seeing this. Things like that. They start giving excuses for their wrongdoings.
I'm so glad you are actually using the right word, excuses. But I also want to go back to the effects I talked about that the kids go through. What affects the children when they witness violence? Number one is sometimes it's depression.
Yes.
When someone is depressed, they genuinely cannot do anything. Yes. And I know some of them don't know how to pinpoint it and name it and say that, hey, I'm feeling a certain way. I can't really bring myself to get out of bed. I can't bring myself to stop the alcohol or the drugs. Sometimes these kids are going through something. And now I'll come to the part of taking responsibility.
Yes.
Look, Philip, I know many of us don't come out here and talk about our past, but many of us have gone through hell growing up. But at the end of the day, you need to start parenting yourself. Your parents did what they could do with whatever they had, and now it's your responsibility to kind of, build the kind of life you want to have. And you cannot keep blaming people. I keep telling the youth who come in, you told me I call a spade, but I keep telling them that no one is coming to save you. You are your own hero in your story. Yes, I understand your parents damaged you, the experiences you went through have damaged you. Everyone has gone through hell. But here we are right now. Are you going to continue blaming the people in the past? Or are you going to, flip the page and rewrite your story? So I would like to urge the youth or anyone out there to please, first of all, pinpoint the problem. Why are you procrastinating? Why do you feel stuck? What is it exactly? After you find the problem, then fix it. Because you can't fix what you don't know. And then I need you to understand that, hey, Everyone is going through something. Everyone has been through something. But it is how you look at it and how you want your life to look like that's going to push you to work harder. So no more excuses. Take accountability. Be responsible for your life and be the hero in your story.
Okay. Thank you so much. And last but not least, I would love to have you, I don't know for how many hours, I can't even tell, because these conversations are kind of really, really interesting.
Thank you.
But speaking of domestic violence, there are people who have stayed in abusive relationships,
Yes.
like really, really abusive.
Yes.
But because this woman gives you money, this woman has bought your car, this woman buys for you perfumes, you look so posh, yeah.
Yes.
So you stay in that relationship because you don't want to lose what you have.
Did you mean to say woman?
Even women, we have sugar mummies. Come on.
No, I thought it was a mistake
No.
because that's not talked about, really.
No. Yes, just because they don't talk about it does not
It's
mean
not
that it doesn't
happening.
happen.
I know. Oh,
Yes.
no. I agree. I
Yes.
agree. I see that happening. And I keep telling people, I see badly behaved women in my practice.
Yes.
I see so many of them. I get messages about these things where the men are actually complaining that this woman is doing ABCD, and you ask him, why won't you leave?
Yeah.
I actually put up a video on my YouTube, why men stay in toxic relationships.
Yeah.
And the reasons are a bit similar to why women stay in toxic relationships.
Yes.
Number one, they've invested a lot together. Like there's time investment.
But to cut you short, sometimes we be in a relationship because we give that we've invested a lot of time.
Yes.
But the question should be, would you want to be in that relationship for the next 10 years being treated the way that you're being treated? If you step out of it right now, wouldn't it save your life?
What I always ask them is, what's the worst that will happen if you left that relationship right now?
You'll be broke.
And yeah, you'd be broke, but hey, it beats you being mentally stuck. You know that the insanity that goes on in those relationships?
Yes.
It is crazy. People are struggling. And another thing that we that keeps people in toxic relationships is the fear of uncertainty. People are terrified of what they don't know. Another thing, they have children. And like you mentioned, some of them have security. You will get married to me, and I have the money, I come from a well-to-do family, and you're like, So you see, you're like, so there is also that security, and that's one of the reasons why some men are staying, and there's also good sex. You know that.
Okay, now on that note, I just don't like to go that side of call a spade because I know you don't want to get you there.
All right.
Now,
cool.
Do you think people know their legal rights when it comes to domestic violence? In just because we're left with only 3 minutes, do you think people know their legal rights when it comes to domestic violence?
No, they do not.
Okay, so you as a counselor, what have you done towards that?
Actually, as I speak, I am actually looking for people who would be comfortable to join me in putting up a hotline.
Yes.
For things like this.
Yes.
I have realized that when a client comes to me and tells me, I want to commit suicide, my husband is doing ABCD, I have no one to call because these people have been to the police and they've not been helped.
Yes.
These people have reported and no one has cared. So I clearly need a lawyer who is willing to stand up. I have had FIDA does this, and I am looking for someone who can actually help me in the police department, who would take this thing seriously.
Yes.
I have seen people go report and nothing has been done. So as a counselor, obviously, I'm always out there advising them to keep trying, and I am going to continue talking about it.
Okay. Now, on that note, in just 1 minute, what are your last remarks?
My last remarks, let's protect our children. These are our future, they're going to marry people. These are future husbands, these are future wives, these are future fathers, these are future mothers, right? Okay. So if they are damaged today, it is going to be impossible to fix them tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. So let's do our best to protect our children. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being part of the show from the time that we started till now. Thank you so much. Have yourself a blessed afternoon. I wish you what you wish me. God bless you.
As Uganda works towards Vision 2040, UBC Radio is dedicated to the development of Uganda. Join us every day for transformative programs in English, Swahili, and Luo. This is UBC Radio.